Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav, and I have Keith, and I have Seany, and it's Zubimendi day 2.5. 2 nights ago we were doing shows on midfielders. Who would you like this time? The other. Last night myself and Ashley were doing a show on Liverpool going in for Zubimendi, and tonight we're doing a show on going what the fuck is going on with Zubimendi. So yeah, strap yourselves in for the next 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll see where we get to. Seany, I'm going to come straight to you. And just get your feeling on this from, I'd say early yesterday, right up until now, and you know where you think it is, what you think might happen, and then we get into the nitty gritty of it, as they say.
Yeah, obviously, I think if you'd asked me if I had been on one of them shows, probably looking at midfielders that are still available in the market that we could get, he'd probably be the number one. To be fair, I didn't really even consider getting him because there was just all of this talk that he turned down advances from other clubs, especially bigger clubs in Spain, particularly Barcelona. So when it came out that we were interested, it was lovely. But to be honest with you, Gav, I don't get married to the idea of players signing for Liverpool until they're actually playing for us, and that's not like. To be honest with you, it's since the whole suicidal thing last year, that absolute shit show that unfolded. Um, we thought we were on to winner. Everyone hark back to last year, like the player that we thought we were getting. So when I read the language in the first article from Joyce and from Ornstein, I know you don't particularly have a liking to Ornstein, but to be honest with you, I would consider him someone who is a solid sauce. He does seem to be forced an awful lot. He does go down the clicks route, but he doesn't normally cast the net when there's nothing there. Um, so when I seen the language he used in his first one, and then everyone was kind of going, "Who's this mystery six?" Nobody really knew, and then Joyce came out saying it was Zubimendi that we were. After I was like, right, lovely. This would be a serious statement for signing for years and slotting in the new regime. And then I seen that the language, like, he has a release clause, and it's a particularly difficult deal to do because the player is not totally uh, in love with the idea of leaving Sociedad. So that's I when it was all posted in the groups that we're in, I said I can't see it happening. And then when you're seeing Joy saying, "Oh, Liverpool seeing confident," you're saying, "Well, look, maybe Hughes is putting it out there." I'm gonna take Edwards' name out of this because it wrecks me head that Edwards' name is in this because he's actually nothing got to do with it. I don't think because it's actually Hughes is the man who's pulling the strings now. So you kind of do a little bit more digging when you can. Like it depends where you digest your information from. If you're a type of person who's refreshing your feed every 2 minutes on Twitter, your head is going to be absolutely frazzled because you just have every Tom, Dick, and Harry making up stories, and you see how these kind of things grow legs, from one thing, and people, it's like get this dopamine rush from positive transfer news that they fiend off anything that's positive, while not actually looking at is to see if any of it is actually like if this stuff is okay. There's actual meat on the bones here to this story. So you're thinking, look, this looks like it's moving quick. You look read between the lines. You think this looks like a little bit of a brief from you and the transfer team to the top dogs. To top dogs, we'll say just Joyce in this that, and then you're just hoping that it's way down the line because they don't want that being hijacked. So takes a little twist today when I said that the player's not sure, and since all that came out, then I don't see it happening at all because as far as I'm concerned, this is a fella who has a buyout clause, and that apparently already was confident in joining Liverpool. If that is the case, then there should be absolutely no obstacle because the Sociedad have very little power, only for tugging on the lads' heartstrings. I think that's what is happening. So, um, the positive I take from it is I reckon any solution, whether it's we move on to the next target or we do sign this fella, I think we'll probably know in the next 12 hours, I'd say, exactly where we stand. And I hope we can just move on. And I'm not going to sit here giving out about the fella, like, because at the end of the day, I only said it before we come online there. You need to take off your Liverpool. Like, perspective is everything in transfers, and you need to take off your Liverpool shaded tints here to say, maybe the lads, particularly in that area of Spain, like the way Sociedad and Bilbao ran, more so Bilbao than Sociedad. Like, lads just dream of representing those teams and never want to leave. Look at Iga Munoyin at Bilbao. You had Inaki Williams at Bilbao. You have his brother now, who I'd say could have probably signed for anyone in the world, if I'm being honest. Bar Madrid said no, I want to stay. And there's been lads at Sociedad in the past. Oyarzabal, I'm sure there's been teams banging on their door for years for him. And that's just the way it is in that particular part of Spain. And I'm okay with that. Like, you don't have to convince me into Liverpool signing a deep line midfield playmaker from the Basque region.
Yeah,
if you know me,
and put a number 14 on his back.
Yeah, if you know me,
Yeah.
you know that's the type.
Yeah.
If you know me,
Yeah.
you know that's the type of thing that makes
That's
me
your favourite
pants
tipple.
Yeah, it makes me pants a little bit tight at the front. You know yourself. But I'm not optimistic. And it's just, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm not optimistic because I just feel like maybe the club got noise from. Important to mention as well that apparently he uses a really, really good relationship with his agent, and apparently that's Hughes' nickname is literally the contact book because he knows everyone in football apparently. So I'd imagine he didn't go in jest with a Soicedo situation in their hands, but I do have a feeling that Sociedad are literally just playing the loyalty card and the romance card now, and whether the player can see through that, I'm not sure. But I think as it stands, I wouldn't be. I'm even less married to the idea than I was this time last night.
Okay, Keith, let me take you back to yesterday. And there's like, I completely get what Seany's saying there with regards to, you know, a player of the Basque region loves playing for the club, and Seany's listed off players there that could have went at any time. The likes of Inaki Williams and even his brother now, because like literally any club and any top club in Europe would have went snapped their hands off. And there is a buyout clause there, but no one's activated it because he's clearly given the look. I don't want to live. But let me take you back. Joyce puts out this tweet yesterday and an article to say that Liverpool are exploring the possibility of signing Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, and you're kind of going, okay. And I think it was fair to say, right, if he's saying that, Liverpool have briefed him with that, you know, because that's how it works between Liverpool and Paul Joyce. Liverpool have briefed him with that, and Liverpool are probably a couple of steps down the road beyond that. You know, they're not ringing and going, we've decided on Zubimendi, we haven't done anything, but you can tell people, you know, that sort of way. And then it kind of takes on a life of its own, Keith. You know, it takes on a life of its own. You see various people, and yeah, I don't like Ornstein. I haven't liked him, and I don't like him since he told everyone that Liverpool Football Club was for sale. And you know, Ornstein and others, not just him, Ornstein and others were saying, you know, like Liverpool are really confident. You know, word from the Sociedad side, no bid. Then word from the Sociedad side, no, they're resigned to losing them, and then radio silence. And Joyce has updated his article to say, you know, Sociedad are doing everything to keep the player. Just to throw something in here, Keith. If Sociedad are trying everything to keep the player, would that tell you that that a deal hasn't been agreed with Sociedad in terms of pay a little bit more than the buyout to get it in installments, or Liverpool have just said we're paying the fucking buyout if we need to? And Seany's probably right, Keith. It's pulling on the players' heartstrings. That's the thing that worries me. If the players hesitating, you kind of go, like, if he gets here, is his heart still in fucking Sociedad? You know, where do you want it? It's a mad one. It's taken a life of its own a little bit over the last 24 hours, and we're all guilty of being part of that because we were all buzzing off it last night.
Yeah. I agree with everything Sean said, to be honest, except for the bit that I do think we'll sign him. I think it's going to happen. I think from reading what I was reading between the lines was, you know, Sociedad are trying to play on the heartstrings because to me, his head is being turned. And it is interesting that he's knocked back so many teams, and he has over the years. Barcelona were scabby to get him for years. United approached, Arsenal have approached, and the fact that it was sort of dropped that we're in, I agree with everything that was said there. Liverpool wouldn't want that getting out unless it was nearly agreed, and I agree about Richard Hughes' contacts with the agent. He was Iriola's agent as well, isn't he, that he brought into Bournemouth. And I think they've got the player on board, and that was the stumbling block, because he has a release clause. To buy him isn't the stumbling block. To get him out of Sociedad is the hard bit. And I think Liverpool feel like they've done that. They will then try and negotiate, because they don't want to pay that fucking release clause. They do not want to pay that 60 million up front.
Yeah, but Liverpool can't show any... If that's the case, Liverpool can't show any weakness to the player by saying, listen, we've done everything to get you out here, and now we're going to...
Oh, no, I think they will. I think they will pay if they have to pay it. But I don't think they want to pay it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think so. I think what Liverpool want to do is say, right, is the player on board? Yes, the player's on board. Now we'll look at the deal itself about getting them from Sociedad. So what I think by looking at it is Liverpool have got the player on board because of what came out, that he is interested. Usually it's a custard pie to anyone that goes near him. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to entertain it. Liverpool have got him on board. I think Liverpool are then looking at trying to get the deal. So they'll try and negotiate with Sociedad and try and say, look, we'll probably go over the release clause to pay it in installments. There's reports there now saying that Sociedad will negotiate installments and don't want the fee up front. Everything, to me, it sounds like they're resigned to losing them, and they're just thrown in this bleeding... How can you do this to any type of card to keep them there?
But you can read it both ways. Sorry, you can read it both ways. Like, you can actually make an argument for the player, like, and I've just said it there a second ago. You can make an argument that the player is stalling and kind of listening to Sociedad, and and like Seany said earlier, loves the fucking club. And you can go back to Steven Gerrard, 2005. And he ends up, no, I want to stay at Liverpool. Like, we've had this situation.
Exactly.
You can make that argument there, right? Or you can make the other argument that, the player is committed to it. He's absolutely committed to to going to Liverpool. But Real Sociedad are still trying, and they can take as long as they want to try and persuade him, because if they don't agree a deal with Liverpool over here, they still have the player. They've released a photo today of the squad to play in Berlin, and he's the picture and he's in the list and stuff like that. So you could think of it either way. They're really trying to get him to stay, or it's a bit of a PR exercise where we're doing everything we can to keep him, but we just couldn't. Because they're losing Moreno, aren't they? I don't know if they've let...
They're losing... Well, they haven't lost Moreno yet, but they will lose Mikel Merino.
Don't get me wrong as well, by the way. Anyone who's been in San Sebastian in their life as well will have some sort of sympathy with the Jumpler, because it's genuinely one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Now, the weather's not great there all year round, let me tell you that, so that shouldn't really be there. But it is... and I love Liverpool, don't get me wrong, but it's a particularly nice place to live in that area of Spain, to be honest. And then imagine, again, even where he's living. Look, he's a local lad. The thing that annoys me so much is that when you go to every single metric data point, like, this is literally from the small sample size that we've seen of what Arne Slot's trying to do. It's the perfect fit. It's the perfect fit. And I'll go back. Yeah, exactly, Keith. Best in class. That's the best way to put it. And it lines up exactly like it's. I kind of found myself doing this thing now when Liverpool are in for a player that's have they played 150 games? What age are they? And how much are they costing? Yeah. And he ticks every single box, like every single box imaginable. It'd be a great signing to get over the line, but. And do you know what? Like, I'd love to err on the side of optimism, but I'd say you're probably lining up with Keith. It's just like this.
I don't think I'm lining up with Keith. I'm not. Don't put me in the same bracket as Keith. No, what I'm saying is that I think you can see both sides of an argument from the player's point of view. If you wanted to spin it, you could spin it as the player wants to go and Sociedad are pulling on his heartstrings. Or you could spin it as the players having doubts. Jesus, should Liverpool pull the plug here? The players having doubts. Like, what sort of start is that to a possible Liverpool career? You can spin it any way you like. that's why I'm kind of thinking of going back to the start and going, you know, yeah, I think the most solid thing here, Seany, is, and we're probably all right in what we're saying in different parts. The most solid thing here is that Liverpool are looking to sign Martin Zubimendi, and Real Sociedad will have to agree a deal with Liverpool, but they will try to keep the player, and that's absolutely fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
look. I've seen a few things saying that, like Sociedad are saying that they're looking to build around them and get back in, but they're not. Like that's the thing. They're literally selling all their best players around them. Like
Yeah.
Landon has gone to Atletico. Mikel Moreno, who was one of their mainstays, is on the verge of joining Arsenal, and
Kubo being linked away as well. I know you're
Kubo's
at the
been
lads
yeah,
being
like,
linked to those.
and look, that's what they have been like. Yeah, I think he needs to look closely because you either want to be a Yaramendi or you want to be a Xabi Alonso. And look, there's every reason that this fella shows up at Liverpool and he's playing in a midfield with Alexis McAllister and looks like an absolute war beater, and he has all the time in his life to go back and play for one of the big two in Spain. And to be honest with you, if that's or even go back to San Sebastian. I wish Joyce never said that, and I never knew about this.
yeah, the
He
prick.
just came out and said it because that's the thing that's annoying me the most, to be honest with you. Because I'm happy that they're profiling that this type of player, and I don't know who it's gonna be if it's not, but like it's literally it's a match made in heaven. Like again, Sociedad as well is a type of club that has similar values to Liverpool. Like that's the similarities there. There is connections to be made.
Their first ever foreign signing, John Aldridge,
John
managed by John
Aldridge, yeah, that's
Toshak.
right, yeah.
You
John
know, there's
Toshak
Liverpool
managed,
links.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they need to give a little bit here, don't they?
yeah,
and
we've done a
Craig.
lot.
A lot of people won't because Craig Robinson, he made a big career in Spain. He was huge in Cadiz. Michael Robinson, sorry,
Michael
made
Robinson.
a big career in Spain, yeah. And he had links there as well. Look, listen, I'd love him. And if I was handpicking a fella we could bring in tomorrow who was realistic, it would be him. So I'm hoping Keith's right. I'd say like in the next hour, I'd say it's that because that does seem to be a timeline. It's always lunchtime and 10:30 or 11 o'clock where tomorrow's paper needs to be printed and then the stories are put out and embargoes are lifted or whatever it is. So let's see. Let's see where we end up. I just hope that the club and I'd imagine that you have a few irons and a few different fires, in case like we don't want our arse out the window again with like we had last year.
Well, see, that's the thing. And Keith, like if you look at it, right, Liverpool go in for Moises Caicedo last year, and again we were all buzzing over it because despite what's happened to him at Chelsea, like there isn't I don't think there's many Liverpool fans out there this time last year that didn't think Caicedo would be just phenomenal in this Liverpool side, right? And I think he'd be phenomenal in the Liverpool side under Klopp or Slot, by the way, you know, because I think there's so much to his game. And Liverpool go in, a lot of people feel like they got assurances from the player. You know, they go in with a bid. Chelsea are all over them. Chelsea win with a bid. Liverpool top that bid. And again, apparently there's assurances there. Liverpool get a fee agreed. And then next of all, Caicedo was like, no, I want to go to Chelsea, right? So, you know, you could partly blame Liverpool for that, but going, listen, why didn't you get it in fucking, like, set in stone with Caicedo before you went and start bidding 115 million quid? And, you know, blame whoever you like. The club, the player, you know, I don't think Brighton were too happy with any of it anyway. But can you see it happening again, Keith? Where they go in here and there's rumour around, and Seany made a great point to me yesterday, and I mentioned on the show last night. He doesn't feel that this guy rejected Arsenal or Barcelona. He just felt that Arsenal or Barcelona in particular didn't have the money to do it, and Arsenal probably had other targets that they wanted to go for. And this guy just couldn't make it fit, right? But Liverpool, if any of the rumours true that this guy wants to stay in Spain or is looking to stay in Spain, are Liverpool going to make the same mistake? I know it's different people, but as a club, are they going to go in there and go, listen, what happened with Caicedo last year? Look, let's go again and kind of do the fucking same thing and ask for kind of half assurances here. Surely they're going to go in, Keith, and they're going to say, right, listen, before we start that in here, Are you interested in coming to Liverpool Football Club? Yes or no? Before we proceed, like it seems, I don't want to use the word amateur, but very naive if you're going to do something along them lines again. That's why I keep trying to reset myself back to tweets from Joyce yesterday, and even the update with Sociedad wanting to keep him. I'm okay with that, but surely you get something off the player, keep rock solid.
I don't think it's comparable really to this Caicedo one last year. I think that was Liverpool tried to snatch him from under Chelsea because they were dilly-dallying and couldn't get their deal done. Remember, Brighton had set a deadline for when this
Yeah.
had to be done. And
And
Chelsea
needed
were
to send Kepa
snookered
or something,
with...
didn't they?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
absolutely snookered over money. And Liverpool were opportunistic. Now, I don't think they got any assurances off the player. I think they went through the agents, and the agents, as is the case, especially with South American players, there's fucking loads of agents.
Topped up that
And
money
I
off the
think,
Chelsea end at the end of it.
and I think I said I was always going to Chelsea. I think from what you heard, they were always leaning for him. He's apparently a Chelsea fan. That's where he wanted to go. He gave his word. I think Liverpool tried to be opportunistic on that one and jump in at the last minute and put the dough down and blew up in their face. But I don't buy into the nonsense that this was a PR move by Liverpool either, and that they didn't really want, the bid accepted because they didn't have the money, all this show. I think Liverpool saw an opportunity, tried to pounce and didn't get it done. This one I see is different because I think they've got the assurances of the player because of the Richard Hughes link to the agent. I think and from all we're hearing and everything, whether it's Paul Joyce or whether it's David Ornstein or whoever it is, it seems like he wants to go, that they have got into Zubimendi's head that, I'm going to make the move to Liverpool. And maybe, like Seany, he's a Xabi Alonso bleeding super fan as well, and that's the way he sees it. But I think Liverpool have done everything sort of right on this. I'm not going to criticise Liverpool for going for a player. We don't know what they're doing. Nobody had a Scooby who Liverpool were in for. Seany said it there, Zubimendi, you look at Arne Slot's the way he wants to play, this is the one. This is the fucking one that you want to get. So we're going for the right player. But nobody knew about him before the last 2 days either. Nobody knew if Liverpool were linked with him, you know what I mean? So Liverpool are keeping everything close to their chest. I think Liverpool feel they can get this done. I think they feel the player wants to get it done. And I just think there's a last bit of desperation here by Sociedad to try and hold on to their player, which is fine because everyone would do that. But I don't compare it with the Caicedo one last year. Like I said, I think that was opportunism to try and jump in and gag in on a deal. Whereas this one, I think they've done that due diligence. They've done with the contacts that Richard Hughes has there, that they've got the word that, this is going to be a runner. And they're just probably expecting to see a few. I mean, let's be honest, I know Liverpool have done business fast, but it would have been a surprise to get this announced and done in a day. So we just have to wait and see. But I just don't think we're all scarred from the Caicedo one last year. I remember it well. We're up all fucking night. It was good, it was bad, it was bleeding horrendous time. It was a great time, really, but the next day was a stinker. But remember, even in the press conference,
I'd actually imagine that's what heroin is like. What happened with that?
It was up, it was down, it was everywhere.
Like literally,
you're going to bed. You were going to bed, fucking delighted, and you woke up the next morning. You're like,
the next morning, depressed out.
You thought you were hallucinating the night before, no?
It was mental.
I woke up about 4 in the morning, going, "Is that real?"
Scrolling phone on your chest with Twitter open to bleeding. Any updates? But that was a mad one.
You know what? Look. I'll try to be positive about it. Let's hope it's just Sociedad trying to save face because they're bleeding firing players out the door at a rapid rate, to be fair. So I'd imagine like that they don't want to piss off the socios because it is a fan-owned club. Like that's the way it's run. Like so. Let's just hope it's a saving face exercise from them. But I get the feeling that we'll know sooner rather than later. And that's more hope than anything else. But
either way, I think you're right, Seany. We'll hear news from the sources that we all trust. And that'll give us an indication of how it's going.
Yeah. If we do miss out, though, I have to be honest with you, it's bad optics for us.
Well, I was just going to ask you, right? Yeah. A couple of things, and I'll start with you, Seany. I'll go to Keith. Megan says, Sociedad have a game tomorrow as well, which will be interesting. I think are they playing at home to Berlin? Or are they they can't be heading off to Berlin in the morning and playing them like this isn't the bleeding DDSL. You know, they must be playing Berlin in Sociedad, right? So that's interesting. I think that's a really good point. Like, does he fucking play? You know what I mean? Everyone's going to be watching that. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to go onto your scores app in the morning and go, oh, big star beside Sociedad's preseason game. And you'll want the team news and everything. But all joking aside, Johnny, I said it last night to Ashley. This is big. It's a big signing for the football team, for the manager for the team. But this is huge for Slot and Hughes off the out of the blocks, isn't it? You know, if they're seen to be going for a really high profile signing as their one to kick off the summer, right, or their first one, to go and get, and it doesn't come off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're right. The optics isn't great, Shawnee. This is big for quite a few people in the club. Not only on the footballing side of it.
Yeah, I know some are pissed.
They're away to Berlin. They travelled today. So did he go? Did he go to Berlin?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
He did,
all right.
I know a few are pissed and they nappy over the Lenny Euro stuff, but for me that's quite logical why Liverpool didn't go near it, even though they said if Madrid weren't near it they would, because it's obvious to me that they felt that was a deal that could have been done way cheaper than it ended up doing that. So I don't look they're not losing any marks for that one in my opinion. But this one, like I think the letting Joyce know and Ornstein know, Ornstein definitely knew before he said he knew. That's a fact. I'm telling you that now for nothing. He knew that the way he framed it, that they're tracking a specialist six from outside the Premier League. He had the name, you could tell, but obviously he wasn't allowed to give it up. It would be a bollock dropped, but I'm with Keith, whereas like if it's a release clause job that willing to play the release clause, then it's obviously it's in the player's hand, and if a player has a change of heart, there's literally fuck all you can do. And in my opinion, like people turn around going, they should have thrown more money at him. If that's the answer, then I'm not interested in the question. You know, like that's the way I see it. If the answer is why didn't we just throw more money at him?
But the chances are, Shawnee, he's on about £50,000 a week. He's probably trebling his money as it is.
Yeah,
we can't go down 200 and 250,000 pounds to this fella.
Yeah, if that's what's making him tick and putting him over the line beside him for Liverpool, then to be honest with you, that's a red flag for me. And again, that's what I'll say. If that is the answer, then I'm no real interest in the question. But yeah, like we just have to be honest. The optics, it wouldn't look good for the recruitment regime.
Because it wouldn't look good because they've definitely briefed Paul Joyce.
Yeah, look, I'm not talking about the discourse on social media. I'm just talking in general as an operation, from an operational standpoint. But look, we'll see how it plays out.
Tom Boland says, look, Berlin's closer to Liverpool than Sociedad, so we'll save a few quid on the airfare. So, and that's fair enough. They've paid half his money to get him halfway there.
But not really. Look, I remember when Liverpool signed Gini Wijnaldum, and he was sitting on the bench in he got hooked off at half time.
Yeah, and then he was a Liverpool player.
And then the next day he was a Liverpool player, like, you know. So no, I don't really look. They can do medicals from anywhere in the world now as well. So there's none of that. Like, there's no real rush in that sense. But like for me is what's going to be the reaction to the outcome of this in terms of where do we go next if it is Zubimendi, and if it's not him, exactly then what have you got lined up? So look, it's early days, but I still have a feeling like Liverpool are gonna be frantic at Liverpool for the next month or 4 weeks or so, because to be honest with you, there's loads of interesting players that we have as well. Like there's talk.
Yeah, it feels like there's going to be plenty of movement in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. There's going to be loads of movement both ways. But look, don't get me wrong. If the first signing in the window is Zubimendi, fucking where do I sign? Yeah, a good start.
Keith.
And if you look at the other players linked, sorry Gav, if you believe the Bastoni links, If you think it's hard getting Zubimendi out of fucking Sociedad, we try and get this fella out of fucking Inter as well. They must.
I'm not having the
fancy that
Bastoni
chance.
links at all. I'm not having them. But Keith, Kev said something earlier in the chat, and I put it up, but there was that many comments going on that I ended up going on to other stuff. But I'll come back to it. He asked if Liverpool, regardless of what he felt going in or whatever, what he felt assurances were got, if they felt like they were getting the cold shoulder off the player, Liverpool probably would have quashed this. You know, Liverpool would have probably just breathed joy and went, listen, you put out a tweet saying, you know, we're looking into it. We've looked into it. It's not happening. We move on and put it to bed. They haven't done that. It's a good point from Kev. You know, if the player was saying to him, I'm not too sure, and you know, boom, 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 Liverpool would have just went, Grant, you're not for us. We're out the gap. That's
true.
Yeah,
it is, and there's a lot to be said for that, you know, because Liverpool have not done that necessarily in the past, but they have briefed when they're walking away from deals that they never walked into, like Jude Bellingham and the likes, Lenny Yoro and these type of things. But I just think, I think that it's a bit of, I just think there's a bit of face saving and a bit of sort of last chance saloon stuff going on at the moment. And I just hope we're on the right side of it, because as Seany said there, it's a statement signing if they get it done. And if they get it over the line, as we said earlier, it's best in class and it sets us up confidently, and it's a dig in the ribs to a lot of rivals as well. So the magnitude of this transfer, should we get it across the line, is fucking huge for Liverpool. And I think it's one that I think everyone can get excited about and everybody can get behind. It's just, you don't want to nail your colours to the mast, you know. On Twitter yesterday, I was sort of saying, until I see him with a fucking Liverpool jersey on, I don't want to get too excited about it. But, you know, if you go into the head, if we want to pick a player that suits the way Slot wants to play, people jump on the likes of Ugarte. And Ugarte's a great ball winner, but not a great ball player. This fella ticks the boxes. You know, if you're giving me a player that's described as Busquets with a bit of Rodri, sign me fucking up. With Xabi Alonso tint in there as well, show me the money, you know what I mean? So I think Liverpool want to get this done. It's just, can they get it over the line? I think they will. Again, I say that, I think they will. I think there's just a bit of blatant last chance stuff that's going on behind the scenes with the player.
I have transfer window bingo on there. I thought you were going to give me gamesmanship there, Keith. That's what I thought we were going to get.
We've a long way to go.
Yeah, listen. If they get it over the line, Seany's outside the Oil Centre at about 7:30 the next morning, waiting with Liverpool shop to open, and he's just demanding the numbers 1 and 4.
Under me pillow. It's already under me pillow.
He's invested already.
But look, we'll have to wait and see on it. You know, O'Sheen says he sees that Arsenal with Moreno are struggling to get a pay structure as well. These are tough to negotiate with, it seems, with Real Sociedad. And
there's actually no negotiating to be done, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I think the only negotiation, if the player hasn't hesitated on this, and the club are trying to get time to try, do everything, tell them all about the mountains, and they have a big huge Sugarloaf over there now, big Sugarloaf mountain and all. The only kind of delaying tactic they have is the payment structure, whether they're going to allow Liverpool to pay them a little bit more for instalments, but Liverpool can just put an end to this and just go, we're paying you 51 million. There you go, boom. 51 million pounds, and we're gone. The players here, so we have to wait and see. I agree. I think I'd expect to see something in the next 24 hours on it. And he may well play in Berlin, but he's still a Real Sociedad player. You know, if it was the other way around, we'd want their player to be playing.
Yeah.
We've seen it when Coutinho wanted to go to Barcelona and was pretending his back was out and he wouldn't play a pre-season game in Dublin. He wouldn't play against Watford the following week at the start of the Premier League. So we'll have to wait and see. And when it comes down to it, Liverpool have approached this in a certain way. You have to trust them until you have to trust their process until their process doesn't work. And it all comes out in the wash as to what's actually going on, especially if they don't get him over the line. But we'll wait and see. Right now, I think 50-50 for me. I'm going on the hard kind of facts on it. Probably 50-50. And Liverpool, if they're still in there and haven't quashed it, they probably feel confident. So we wait and see. But I want to ask you a few, because we got onto this thing last night where we were naming players. Like, do you remember we were signing like Seany every season for about 7 years? And remember Ian Ayre went to try on his motorbike to try pick up Conor Plianka, and that didn't happen. And Clint Dempsey, we were trying to swap with Jordan Henderson, all this sort of stuff. So we were talking about that last night, but it was actually it was somebody in the, and I want to get their name, because if I don't, it was somebody it was James Wayne in the Telegram group, and he was saying players that you would have loved to see play for Liverpool. You wish they'd played for Liverpool. Now, we were going to do a show where we're going to name an 11, but it's 20 to 11, boys. So we can just start bashing names out and remembering some mad stuff that maybe went on. But is there anyone straight off the top of your head, Keith, where you think I'd have loved him to play for Liverpool? Now, I know you know, Messi, right, fair enough. But, you know, but is there anybody where you thought Liverpool could get him? I would have loved to see him play with Liverpool.
I'm going to start with a really underwhelming one here.
Right.
Really because I was building a team and I was sort of thinking it. Liverpool fell off a cliff when the Premier League started, right? And I don't blame it all on David James, but I put a fucking lot of blame at David James. A mentally fragile goalkeeper doesn't get you anywhere. I would have loved Liverpool to sign Nigel Martin back in the early 90s. Yeah. I would have loved them to sign Nigel Martin. An English keeper, played for Crystal Palace at that time.
Leeds. And then
went to Leeds in 96, I think. Ends up at Everton. I think he was a brilliant keeper. And I think if Liverpool had had a better goalkeeper, they needed other better players in other positions. But it took me all day to think of a keeper I'd have loved. So I'm not letting you get me off throwing Nigel Martin onto the show. So Nigel Martin, definitely one who I would have loved Liverpool to sign because of the state that we were in at the time and the way it panned out.
Yeah, I wasn't building the team. I was just thinking of players.
You said 11, you
No, yous were picking 11. I was just going to go.
I thought Seany asked if you'd pick an 11. You said
yeah. No, yous were. I wasn't. I was just thinking of names in my head because I was going to host the show. Seany, was there one name that came into your head straight away?
Loads come into my head straight away, but one jumped out, and it's only because I've been reading a bit about him in the last few weeks. Ian Graham has released a book about his time at Liverpool, and he said before the 13-14 season at Liverpool just how close we were to signing Diego Costa and putting him up front with Suarez, and the move never materialised. And I just thought to myself, imagine prime Suarez and Diego Costa in the same. Like, we would have won the league that year. There's no doubt about it. It would have been like, he literally went to Chelsea then the following year and absolutely ripped it up. I think Costa's peak wasn't actually the highest, but it wasn't the longest. But at his peak, he was an absolute fucking menace, and he's just an absolute bastard that I would have loved him to play for Liverpool, because imagine him in front of the crowds at Anfield. Like, they would have loved him, and he would have loved them back. I think it's one of them where I was always going bollocks. And then I had another one in my head who I'd imagine if you had went back, if he could go back now, he would have done it, and he would have been one of the standout players of his generation. Obviously, he's been going through it, and it's been well documented in the media in the last couple of years. But I think people seem to forget how good he was.
I know you're going to say.
As a 21-year-old, I seen his stats comparing him to Jude Bellingham, and he literally pisses all over that little cocky pissant. And that's Dele Alli. And I think it's an urban legend nearly how close Liverpool were come to sign him. I think we can thank Steven Gerrard for not fucking getting up in the morning and answering the phone call. He was literally a Steven Gerrard phone call a meeting away from signing from Liverpool, and I can't help but think that with the way timing aligned and Dele Alli at the height of his power playing under Jurgen Klopp and his stewardship, like, the sky is the limit, because I think another fucker with a nasty streak in him who I think Liverpool would have loved, but technical ability, Jesus Christ, like, up there with the Gascoignes. for me when you're seeing him breaking through at Spurs. I can't speak highly enough. And he goes off an absolute cliff because of what went on his life, and the media did everything they could, stuck the knives in, and then he done an interview last year with the overlap, which I'm sure touched a lot of people. When he documented exactly what he'd gone through in his life, but I can't help think that
We
with a
offered.
figure like Jurgen Klopp in his life,
Was Rodgers in charge when we were looking at him?
it was
Would have been, yeah.
is towards the end of because he signs for Spurs under Pochettino, and then Klopp comes in not long after.
Yeah, and I think Rodgers. Yeah, I think Rodgers is in charge,
Yeah.
and Liverpool actually have him. I think they have him as a guest at Anfield. Everything looks like he's
Yeah,
going to move from
yeah.
MK Dons, wasn't it?
He plays against us in the Champions League final, like, so it would have been literally a case where he was lining out for us.
Yeah, and
He went to
you know,
Spurs in 2015.
yeah, but the talk was that Liverpool all had this in the bag, and then went in with a ridiculous offer. Something like £2 million or something, and MK Dons wanted 5, and over 2 or 3 million quid. Liverpool didn't get Dele Alli. The one for me that always sticks out, and I'm going, I was actually trying to go back to, I didn't want to go too far back, so I said I'll do Premier League, because there was players before the Premier League I would have loved to see play with Liverpool, but it was Ian Wright.
Ian Wright.
Yeah, Ian Wright from, not the Crystal Palace Ian Wright, because he was it was like, this is mad, like he was playing Sunday football like a year ago, and now he's playing this. But Ian Wright from probably around 92, 93 onwards, I thought, what a fucking player.
And we sort of went and got Dean Saunders.
Well, I think we get Dean Saunders around 91.
91, I think.
Yeah, and then he's there for the season, and then we sell him to Villa, or he's there for 2 seasons maybe, and we sell him to Villa. But Ian Wright's gone from Palace to Arsenal in I think the summer in 1990, after the FA Cup, to get beaten in the FA Cup replay by United. He scores 2 in the original game in the 1990 Cup final. But when he got to Arsenal, there was something. He worked so fucking hard. He was a really good footballer. He was better on the ball than people let on, and then he just had all the finishes. Now, in fairness, Robbie Fowler turns up in 93, and Robbie Fowler had all the finishes. But Ian Wright scores a goal at Ellen Road where the ball drops him and he just chips the keeper. From a standing start, he's just standing there and he just chips the keeper, stuff like that. Ian Wright was always one where I just thought, Jesus Christ, he was a real goal scorer. A real goal scorer. And I still like Ian Wright to this day. I like him, listening to him. Yeah, he's a good egg, I think. And so Ian Wright was the first one I kind of thought of. And
Michael Laudrup's a big one. Michael Laudrup's
a huge one.
Thought he would have had in the door. Missed out on him. Goes to Italy. He had to get loaned out and all because of the foreign player rule that was in Serie A. He only allowed to play 2. So I think Juventus had to loan him out because they had Boniek and Platini, and he got loaned out to someone, could be in Lazio, I think he went to. And he becomes one of the best players of his generation. I think he's fucking fantastic, Michael Laudrup. That's one that really, could have done with that.
Jerry's gone back to the goalkeepers. He said Shay Given. He always would have wanted Shay Given. Can I throw one in though, before we keep going? Damien Duff.
Yeah, you literally had to take him
when he's leaving Blackburn. Because Damien Duff in the 2002 World Cup
because
is a joke.
Gave him a gaff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Damien Duff in the 2002 World Cup turns up as a winger and decides to just play up front, and he's just stupid good. Like he absolutely runs Spain ragged in the second round game when it goes to we get beaten. Did we get beaten on penalties in that game? Yeah. And he absolutely, Puyol is chasing him like a fucking idiot. Like they're all chasing him around this pitch and they can't get near him. And I think the following summer he goes to Chelsea. Or maybe the summer of 2004. Yeah, but honestly, we were linked with him, and he's one he would have just been, and he was brilliant at Chelsea. I just think I'd have loved to see him play for Liverpool. Go on, who are you going to say, Seany? I was
going to say Duff. Yeah, I was going to say Duff. People don't realise that. Duff gets on a lot of people's nerves now because the way he goes on as a man. He's a really, really good manager, by the way. He is really good, but he's another player I felt would have been made for Liverpool. How many wingers down the years he do, had Liverpool had like to set the place alight, and he would have been the next one in the door. And of course, he's Irish as well. Who else did we nearly? Who else did we nearly get?
Do you know who I'd have loved? Gabriel Heinze. Because we nearly got him as well.
Yeah, but from United though.
Yeah, but that was the thing, wasn't it? There was an agreement that he could leave for the fee. Liverpool paid it, and United are like, whoa, we didn't mean to them. And I went to a tribunal and all that he argued that this was for any club, and United says, oh yeah, but not them. We meant someone foreign.
Look, we should have never let Nicholas and Elton go.
Someone foreign. James CBR says, I've got a shout out on Talkin Kop. This is obviously James that brought up this thing. He said, to think my teacher said I'd go nowhere. Yeah, well, there you go. You went somewhere.
Yeah. Who did I can't remember. Who did I just say there?
There was a few that we are close to, and it doesn't happen. Like Vidic,
Ronaldo,
Everett, Ronaldo. But quite a few has thrown in here Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the deal that was meant to be done when Suarez was gone. Do you remember? And it was like, we're going to go in for him, and we put in money, and then
Arsenal had a late conversation with that absolute sap Rodgers, and then decided that wasn't for him. You know what I mean? The amount of players that didn't want to live in Liverpool when Rodgers was the manager. Madge Apple's a great show. Paul McGrath, what a fucking player.
Yeah. And again, blocked. He was linked with Liverpool. He was blocked. He said that, didn't he? That Alex Ferguson blocked him from going to Liverpool.
Yeah, because Alex Ferguson always said that he felt that Paul McGrath was world class, but everything that was going on around him was just so hard to deal with. He ends up going to
one. And of all the players that we'd missed out in recent times, he's the one where I thought to myself, again, another winger, I thought to myself, he would have been fucking electric at Liverpool. Willian.
Yeah.
Oh, you like Willian?
Was good,
yeah. If he had got Willian when he first arrived, because again, another one people forget. Literally one of Chelsea's best players for 4 or 5 years.
Was he linked with Liverpool and then was meant to be signing for Spurs, and then Mourinho just went in and went, "Do you want to sign for them? We'll take."
Done a medical, didn't he? At Spurs and Chelsea, like, right, he's fit. We'll take him. Nice one.
Yeah. Still one of my favourite ever transfer stories was Peter Adam Wingy. Telling West Brom he's going to fuck off, and he was just sitting outside the offices at Loftus Road of QPR going, Harry, what's the story?
Yeah.
He's signing me.
That's going to be Zubimendi in the morning.
Yeah, that's Zubimendi now. Just sitting in Lime Street going, what's the crack? Is this happening or not? Willian, and
Evan Ball, a good shout. Odegaard trained, probably had to listen to Rodgers' waffle, God help him, and then never signed.
Yeah,
the Rodgers nonsense was bleeding. There's one. Frank Worthington nearly signed by Shankly. His blood pressure was too high. Sent to Spain and went on a mad one. Anyone that doesn't know Frank Worthington should read up on him. Frank Worthington was one of them flair players in the 70s. Little mullet, little bleeding pencil moustache. Deadly. Always had women hanging over him or a glass of champagne. Another one was Charlie Nicholas. Liverpool tried to sign Charlie Nicholas. Champagne Charlie, and he went to Arsenal instead. Don't fuck all.
They tried to sign Charlie Nicholas in, is it 85? 84, 85, and he's seen as an eventual successor to Dalglish, because Dalglish ends up becoming the player manager and winning the double in 86. But I think they're trying to bring in Charlie Nicholas to be the replacement for
Did they buy Paul Walsh instead, or was Paul Walsh there as well? Because it was that similar type of player.
No, Paul Walsh probably comes in around that time as well. But I think Paul Walsh isn't there in 86. I don't think he's there in 86.
I think he is.
Is he?
I don't know. Maybe Walsh was there and he was injured, and they were looking at Nicholas as another option. But yeah, he was that sort of player that they were looking for.
Yeah, it was just it was
in the 80s. But it shows, they were always looking for that Kenny replacement. Frank McAvenny was another one, again, Celtic. Bit of a maverick that they were looking at as well. So many players.
Mkhitaryan. Remember Mkhitaryan was linked with Liverpool? Joaquin, says Sam Tandy.
Yeah, the Joaquin story is a brilliant one. The Joaquin story is a very good one. The Joaquin was more or less signed by Rafa, and he told the story on Spanish telly. For anyone that doesn't know, Joaquin is a huge character now in Spain. He's all over the telly. He has his own reality TV show. I've actually met him in person. He's mad as a box of frogs. he's absolutely nuts. But he told a story where literally people again forget how good Joaquin was.
Joaquin was
At
brilliant.
Valencia, he was
He was great.
electric, absolutely
Up to
electric.
playing into his 40s.
Yeah, basically about to wrap up the deal, signed for Liverpool. Fernando Morientes left Liverpool after a short stint. Joaquin rang Fernando Morientes, and Morientes said, "Don't go there. Rains all day, food is shite, and it's dark at 5 o'clock. Just stay where you are. It gets dark at 5 o'clock every day." And that was it. He just
Lads, can
rang
I
up
ask
and
Game
said, "I'm not in."
over.
Can I ask you
And that was
something?
it.
Can I ask you something? Because I it came out of my mouth last night, and I thought, am I right here? And then I thought to myself, and I forgot about it, but I remember it now. Did Loic Remy fail a medical with Liverpool?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
His knee, was it his heart?
Yeah, it's hard. He went to
Yeah.
in New
QPR.
York. We were in New
What was it?
York at the time.
No.
We were on
One of the
tour,
early tours, yeah.
and
That's right.
he went and done his medical, and he failed it.
A heart defect.
I remember because his name came to my head last night, and I was like, "Were we just linked with him?" But I could have sworn he's failed the medical at Liverpool. And you're right, he ends up going to QPR. Sylvain Marveau, it's his own book. Sylvain
Do you know
Marveau.
another one? Got Lord rest them. They're gone now. Fucking, they've failed to exist. But Johan Gorkov. Anyone remember him?
Oh, okay,
Good
off
proof, yeah.
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. Yeah.
Always linked with him.
And he was
Yeah,
like,
we were.
didn't he stay around there for years, but was playing in the France team?
Went to Lyon.
Yes,
Yeah.
Leon. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He was a player.
He was magic.
He was a
Like,
player. Yeah,
he was a baller.
Yeah, he really was. There's so many players over the years, like especially
Danny Alves.
Danny
Bad
Alves,
egg now, like,
David Villa.
at the time.
David Villa
David
was linked.
Villa, yeah.
Samel was linked non-stop.
Pablo
Marco Reus.
Neymar would have been a lovely one.
Yeah, but they
Don't know if he'd
had
have suited us.
some lovely midfielders as well at the time. Valencia. that I
Oh
loved.
yeah, Valencia were great.
There was one
Albelda and Baraka.
Yeah, Baraka is the
Ruben
one.
Baraka.
Yeah, Ruben
Great
Baraka.
player.
Yeah, and it was just like Mariwan Shamak says, Steve, we were so shy at one point we couldn't even sign Mariwan Shamak. Is that the guy with the mad hair that was on Arsenal?
Awful head of hair, and coming from me, I wouldn't take his hairstyle for
I
anything.
tell you what I loved at Liverpool. Reyes that played at Arsenal.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Brilliant player.
He was fucking brilliant. Did he die in a car crash?
He did,
Yeah.
very young.
Yeah, he was a fucking fantastic player. And I always remember getting so annoyed when Gary Neville tried to bleed and break his leg at Old Trafford. He caught him in a tackle a few minutes earlier and then went in on him and done him terrible. And getting really annoyed over it. He was so fucking good. Emmett says we are linked to Trezeguet every window for a few years. That's right.
Another great player.
There was just so many players. I just think the sweet spot for this though is definitely, I would say, 92 to like 2000 and probably 7, 8. That's the sweet spot. That 15-year period was just every year was like.
Should have signed an Elgate. We should have signed an
Oh,
Elgate.
100%.
Considering who we signed instead of him as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's terrible state.
It's one of the worst.
That one.
Yeah, no, Houllier should have been sacked on the spot.
Remedy Cabinet, what about him?
Lads.
I love him. Good
lads.
player. Good player.
If you haven't seen this, I don't know how you can see it. But Emmett sent us a video today and went, watch this, boys. Now, we all thought it was going to be a wind about one of those videos you open up and there's all bleeding sex noises coming out. But it wasn't. It was these two Spurs fans doing what we're doing here. And this thing comes up on the screen and it says on it, super chat from Mick or whatever, right? And it says, what do you make of this link to, and the way he had it, Amiti Cabernet is what they call it, right? It's obviously empty cabinet, Spurs fan, no trophies. And your man goes, yeah, two quid super chat here, and he reads out the thing, and and he goes, the other fella goes, is that for me? And he goes, yeah, you walk away. And he goes, good player. I like him. He says, no, I'm not too sure. He says, I'm not too sure how far down the line we are. We have to be a bit cautious here, when it comes to monitoring and stuff. And your man goes, who does he play for? And he goes, and he's looking around. And then he goes, I don't know. He said, but I can't think of who he's playing for now. It's like completely fucking ridiculous. And then your man at the other side decides, hold on, this player must be real. I'll get in on the action. And he goes, no, I'm not too sure on this one now. I don't know how he'll adapt to the Premier League. He says, I'm 50-50 whether this could go ahead. It's one of the best videos I've ever seen. It's in our Telegram group. Go and watch it. It's absolutely it's absolutely brilliant. Emmett says, go on to TikTok and search Spurs Podcast Prank, and you will see it. Chris Brack, we are linked to Philip Mexes and Taribo West for years. Yeah.
Philip Mexes for a long time.
Yeah.
Taribo West as well, when you was at Inter Milan.
Yeah, but players that you would have loved, I know what I love when we talk about players with linked, but players you would have loved to see play for us. Like, there's been so many fucking good players in the Premier League.
David Silva in one Mata would have been lovely. Santi Cazorla, that type of player from Spain around that time. We were linked with all of them, and would have loved to see any of them at Liverpool.
Zola was one I would have loved at Liverpool. I just thought Zola was magic. He was like the smallest fella in the bleeding world, and he was so up for the Premier League.
There was players that played that didn't get a fair shake, like Robbie Keane.
Yeah, but that's Rafa's fucking ego kicking in.
Yeah, and that's like that. That's one of the things that annoyed me now with the while, because when he played well. Like,
he was starting to get into it as well, wasn't he? He was starting to really click.
He just never stood a chance because it was a Rick Parry signing, wasn't it? So look, and I hate when shit like that shit used to always happen at Liverpool. Right up until Leroy Sané, that's a great show.
Leroy Sané is a great show. Yeah, who said that?
Can't remember that.
Was it on the screen?
Ashley said it. Yeah, Sané is electric.
Yeah. I'll tell you which one I would have loved to see, and it actually becomes a bit of a
Marco
joke.
Reus.
Yeah, no, but we become a bit of a joke over this one. It's Tony Kroos. Did you remember we were trying to sign Tony? Was it Tony Kroos? Rogers was like...
Gerrard hangs Rogers.
Rogers was like, oh, Tony Kroos hasn't a bleeding breeze who I am. I get Steven Gerrard to ring him, and it doesn't happen. But Tony Kroos, like, you look at his career, he's only just retired. What a player. Like, what a fucking player.
On book with two of my favourites there, Roberto Ayala and Guti.
But he's going down the bleeding. He's going down the...
We're going into the Galactico territory.
He's going into the South American gear as well here, because you'd be mad up for it.
Yeah, he's so predictable, in fairness.
Yeah, there was so many, especially in the 90s, where I just you were like, Jesus, I'd love him. You know what I mean? And usually through the 90s was like, can we get a good centre half please for the love of God? Can we, or a good left back after Rob Jones went, because
Carvalho would have been a great signing.
Yeah, we were absolutely like tortured over the likes of Julian Dix and all this in the early 90s with left backs and all.
Another one would have been Gary Pallister when United signed Gary Pallister. That was a huge signing for them. And did they sign him from Norwich? Was it Norwich they signed him from? He went to Middlesbrough.
No, Middlesbrough.
Maybe they signed him off Middlesbrough.
No, I think they signed him from Middlesbrough.
That was a huge.
No, they signed Steve Bruce from Norwich, I think.
Yeah,
Aquilani.
Aquilani is the bleeding stock in the piss we sold Alonso for, because of fucking... do you know what? I'm going to just say something, yeah. I fucking hate Rafa Benitez.
You see, as soon as you get Alonso into the conversation, it's like,
he's a fucking dickhead. He's a dickhead. You know what? He made so many decisions in his time at Liverpool that ended up damaging in the wrong way.
It was spite.
And I tell you one thing as well, that people won't admit, he fucking ruined Fernando Torres' career as well. The fucking Roy Hawk.
Jonathan Woodgate gets a show. JJ Okocha gets a show. Okocha was brilliant to watch, absolutely brilliant. Ronaldinho, that's, Ronaldinho is, I still think to this day, the most entertaining footballer I've ever seen. Not the best.
He was great. I was seeing a few clips of today, and I'd be like, what? Canu at Arsenal.
Oh, what?
Do you remember the hat-trick at Stamford Bridge?
Canu was brilliant.
Yeah. Remember the hat-trick at Stamford Bridge, that 2-0 down, and he scores from the end line?
Yeah.
He whips it into the top corner. He goes by Ed De Hoya, and he's running towards the end line, and he spins his body 180 degrees and plants it from like a yard off the end line into the far top corner. It was, go and watch it. Canu a hat trick at Stamford Bridge. It's absolutely stupid. Casaraghi says super dizzle. Roberto Baggio says Bertie. Baggio was Baggio realistic? That's the only thing. We're kind
Yeah,
of
they
putting a
had
bit
to
of
have got him, I suppose, before he goes to Juventus, and that's around 92, is it? So,
yeah.
look, I suppose when you think about it, Ant was realistic back then because Liverpool were a huge team, but Premier League teams weren't bringing in that many overseas players.
Do you know
And
who
Serie A was fucking top of the charts as well.
Do you know who I thought at the time? Jermaine Defoe. Next level says
excellent
Jermaine
player.
Defoe. It's a great show. But Jardel.
Jardel was plundering in goals in fucking
for
Portugal. Beat the band.
He was unreal. Chris
And then
Pratt says Raquel.
he went to Bolton then, I think, didn't he? Don't fuck off.
He done a bit there. Should he all went there? Djorkaeff went there. Even Campos went there. Hierro done a bit there. Yeah.
Salgado.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Salgado
Fucking
goes
anyway, Zubimendi. If the boys
Blackburn.
left fucking Madrid to end up in Bolton, sure you could sign with
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was Sam Allardyce showing them? Was Sam Allardyce standing in front of a green screen? It looked like the Caribbean. He was like, "Look at here, boys. It's legal." And like,
Sam
now
Allardyce
listen.
basically told them they could live in Ibiza. You only had to show up on Saturday.
Before you get on the plane, sign that contract now. Before you get on the plane, and they all turn up and they're in Bolton. They're drinking in the Phoenix Nights club. Like it's absolutely unbelievable. We made a few efforts to sign Pulisic. Do you know what? At the time,
he would have been a great player.
He would have, but I think Liverpool. I look at him now and I think he's actually ready for a huge move again. In my opinion, I know he's at AC Milan. They're a huge club, but I could see. In the next year, 18 months, I think someone could come back in for Pulisic to bring him back into the Premier League.
Yeah, he's flying.
He is absolutely fine. Ginola was class in Newcastle, says Kieran B. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded him.
I would have got fucking throttled as soon as Gerard Houllier walked in the door.
I have one. And I was thinking of Shearer the other day, and I was yesterday about it, and I was like, no, because when he's leaving, United are all over him, and he ends up going to Newcastle. Les Ferdinand would have been unreal at Liverpool. He was just an animal of a footballer. Les Ferdinand was. I'd have loved to see him play for Liverpool. He was so fucking good. With QPR, he was brilliant. He goes to Newcastle. He was brilliant there as well.
He was great at Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many players that Liverpool were linked with every year. They were linked. Teddy Sheringham, they were linked with. I think we're close to signing him.
They were close to Teddy Sheringham, yeah.
Yeah, and they end up going for someone else. Theo Walcott is another show someone would have liked to see. Next level would have liked to see at Liverpool. There's just so many. There's so many.
Another great show by Owen there, going on the Jardel vibe of them middle of the road ones. Giovanni Elbert and Hakan Sukur, two great European strikers. Elbert actually very quality. He was quality, and I think he was unlucky that he was in the era when Brazil had fucking top-notch talent up front, because he doesn't get enough caps. Whereas now, Jesus, what they would do for an Elbert now, because he was fucking brilliant. He was a great player.
David Bentley was linked a lot, says Jerry.
Lee Bowyer. Remember the Lee Bowyer?
The Lee Bowyer one was amazing. It was
Bowyer was close, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, the word going on was that Lee Bowyer had literally told Leeds, it was Leeds he was coming from, wasn't it? Because they were in all sorts of trouble. And it's under Benitez. It's the summer of 2005, I think. Yeah. And no, it actually might be Houllier. It might actually be Houllier around.
Houllier, yeah, it was Houllier. Yeah. It was.
And the word is that it's done. It's a done deal. He's packed his bags and all. The word going around was he's packed his bag. He's left Leeds. He's on his way to Liverpool. Job done. And then I don't know what happens. Liverpool just decide, no, we're not doing it.
He's a bit of a scummer, but he was a good player.
Bowyer was brilliant, especially in that Leeds side that were going through Europe that time. He was unbelievable for them off the right wing. He was unreal. Of course, he does end up having a scrap with Kieran Dyer on the pitch, do you remember, for Newcastle?
He was a tramp, in fairness to him.
Yeah.
If he's watching, sorry, Lee, but you were a tramp. But a very good player. Very good player.
Yeah. There's just, I love thinking back to all these players and trying to remember. I'm trying to remember, vision teletext screens in my head, and the call line. You'd have to ring in. The cost you bleeding about fucking 15 quid, and they go Liverpool news today, and it's like fucking nothing. But you were just getting charged a fortune for it. But But anyway, we leave it there because we've gone over the time. But there's plenty of players thrown in there as well. Thompson tells Houllier that Bowyer isn't interested in coming, so they pulled the plug. Apparently, says Chris Brack. The word going around was he was on the way. It was all done and dusted, and then it just didn't happen. But there's so many players, so many players that were linked with Liverpool. Oh, you would have loved to see them play. And maybe listen, if you're watching now or you're listening afterwards, leave a thing in the comments as the players you would have loved to see at Liverpool. Now, I don't need a bleeding their life story. Just list a load of players, and I'll read them and go, oh yeah, that's grand. Anyway, we're going ahead. Thanks to Keith, thanks to Seany. Anything else before we go, boys?
No.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about bleeding. Sam Allardyce's Bisto PowerPoint now, just the PowerPoint.
I'm telling you, he's in front of a green screen with like the Bahamas behind him going, bowling his whopper. Do you know what I mean? And they're all going, that looks unreal. Do you know what I mean? And then they turn up, and it's just like, but in fairness, he got them all playing. Some results he had. Keith, did you tell that story about the airport?
No, I didn't. No.
Do you want to tell us?
I have to now, won't I?
Yeah, well, you said.
So I was away. I was away at the weekend. I was on my holidays a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks in
Got back
Spain.
on the Sunday. 2 weeks in Spain. Got back on the Sunday night. I had to go back out to Portugal on the Thursday. So it's tough at the top, isn't it? So we got home. You know when you come home and the suitcases are out and all that. So it's right, I'm not fucking packed it real early. Packed the day before and all that. Fucking clothes into the suitcase, passport into the suitcase, all this sort of stuff, right? So packed, ready to go, out to the airport 3 hours early, no queues, sailed through fucking security, great day all around, out to the garden terrace bar in the airport.
Crack, yeah.
7 points in, we were bleeding, having a great time, a rare old time. Geared up. I was now in the mood for the Stags where I hadn't been because
you were giving out all week.
You know, I'm not built for this anymore. But you know, the old points were flying down, and we make our way up to the gate. And anyway, and scan in, boarding passport handed in. Looked at it. Wasn't my passport, it was my son's passport. I looked at it, the arse fell out of me, right? So this was 5 o'clock, we're about to board the plane, 5:30 takeoff, full of bleeding lala, full of drink. What am I going to do? Fucking what they're sending is a video there, and you'll see me bleeding, scabby face talking to your woman at the Ryanair desk. And I'm getting, your woman is like, you can't go on, and the lad's been a great help. Well, the ones filmed it weren't much of a help, but they're all saying, can he not give you a picture of his passport and go on that? And your woman's like, yeah, even if we accepted that, they're not going to let you into Portugal with it. What about a driver's license? All these stupid suggestions. So the jigs and the reels, then she goes, up, we can book you on another flight. I said, right. An hour and a half later, I said, right, that's not too bad. But I had to get home. My wife was gone away as well with the kids for the weekend, down to Hidden Valley, you know, down in Wicklow, glamping and all that. So she wasn't there to come out with the fucking passport. So I had to go on a Thursday, 5:30. Getting out of the airport was an ordeal. You know, trying to walk your way back to get out, it was a bleeding nightmare. I got out, got a taxi, rush hour traffic from Dublin there, and I live in the city centre.
Through the tunnel.
So through the tunnel, getting to the tunnel was a nightmare. Yeah, I told you, man, the taxi driver, my predicament, he was very sympathetic. He's probably the only person who was sympathetic to me plight on the whole weekend.
Yeah, you're getting a wonder out of it.
He done well out of it, in fairness to him, he done well. So he's bobbing and weaving out of traffic to try and get me to the tunnel. Got me to the tunnel, out, back to me gaff, passport, boom, straight out, running to the bleeding thing, through security. Security was a great little pleasure 5 hours earlier. It was great.
Yeah.
When I was in a rush, it wasn't as great.
Yeah.
So I'm running and I'm going, and they're telling me I have a boarding pass. And when I get to the security, that's not a boarding pass. I had to go back to the Ryanair desk. Your woman stitched me up, gave me a boarding pass. I'm running through, sweat pumping out of me. Got to the desk, flight delayed. So for fuck's sake, so I got home and back out. Now it was only delayed for about half an hour. But then I'm in the queue, right, and I'm in the non-priority queue to get on the plane. And your woman comes over to me, you're paying for that bag. I say, what? You don't have priority? I don't think so, no. €60 for the bag. I'm like, oh, fuck off, will you? And then I checked my boarding pass. I had priority, so I dodged the bullet there. So all in all, between me taxi back to get the passport, my new flights, then we had a bus picking us up from the airport, which was a lovely little €15. Cost me 60 in a taxi from there as well. It cost me about €250. But I got out to them about 3 hours later. So by midnight, I was after meeting up with them. So all's well that ends well. But
They're never going to let
last
you forget
stag, I'm never going to go. Oh, never let me forget it. And right as I wouldn't to them,
it.
you know. So
That's true.
sometimes you have to just take your licks on these things.
Yeah. Anyway, so the next time you're going away, kids, check you don't have your kids'
Check you don't
passports.
have. See, what happened was, right, people are like, how the fuck did you take his passport? Again, only back from holidays, the passports were in. We have a little fucking wallet for the passport. So I took them out, and there was a sticker, 2 stickers on some of them. You know, when you check into the hotel and
Yeah.
they put these stickers on the back. And my son's second name is Keith. So I saw Keith Plunkett. I said, right, that's me. Boom, in the bag, safe as houses. Turned out it wasn't me, it was him.
Yeah.
So yeah, bad times all around.
Yeah, but listen, what more do you want? Like, you spent the
Yeah.
last 3 weeks in the sun, giving out.
I know, yeah.
Like, but it's
Fuck you, Keith.
still 3 weeks in the sun, giving out about it being too hot, and then, you know, I thought you were trying to get out of the whole holiday. We're going, oh, lads, look, I'm out to bring the wrong passport. You head on.
It
I thought
was
you were going
said.
to get home.
It was said. Did you do that on purpose? No, because I would have just jacked it in. I wouldn't have played and
Yeah, I would have said
raced
I'm not
home
going.
and back out.
Yeah. All right, well, there you go. If you think you've had a bad week, look at Keith.
Yeah.
He's in rag order after
Never
3
live it
weeks of
down.
drinking.
That's the beauty of it. That's the
And
beauty.
he's 250 quid lighter than everybody else as well. Seany, anything else before we go?
No, just always out the passport before you leave the gaff.
Yeah.
Isn't
Don't
it?
trust the
Solid
names on-
advice.
Solid
Sterling,
advice.
solid advice.
I will go into a thing I heard on the radio today, but I'm not going to do it because it only annoys me. Basically, a board telling you when you go on holiday, just eat fruit and drink water all the time. Fuck off, annoy me. It really annoyed me. Some board on Classic again today, but it really upset me. I was in the car fucking fuming over it, but I'll tell you about it another time. Right, we're going. That's been the Talkin Kop. Thanks to me, for watching. Over and out.